And good morning. Welcome to The Bright Side. I am Pharmacist Ben. Thanks for joining us. 844-236-6010 is our number. 844-236-6010 if you have questions about health, nutrition, prescription drugs, if you want to wean yourself off your meds and get on a good nutritional supplement program, we can help you. 844-236-6010 is our number. If you want to purchase longevity products, go to brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com. Also, click on the Join the Team link on the websites brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, criticalhealthnews.com to start yourself a home-based business, be in business for yourself, be protected against what is probably on the way. Probably on the way is more economic turmoil. Protect yourself against that and help change the world at the most fundamental level there is, which is the level of our personal and individual good health. Call 866-735-2470 for more info or click on the Join the Team link at brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com. And don't forget to take a look at our Truth Skin Health products, truthtreatments.com. Never any preservatives, fragrances, fillers, waxes, emulsifiers, water, silicone, vegetable oil, nothing your skin doesn't need or doesn't want. What does that mean for you? It means powerful, effective, healing, valuable topical skin health products. If you don't believe me, go to truthreview.com and check out our 500 plus 5-star reviews. Truthreview.com. All the products are up at truthtreatments.com, truthtreatments.com. All right, we've got a guest coming up at the bottom of the hour. Lori Craig is going to talk to us about economic trends that will impact the future. Lori is a certified financial planner, and she talks about what's going to be happening in the future in terms of the United States as a declining global power. That's going to affect things. How the dollar is being utilized worldwide. That's going to affect things. We have more baby boomers out in the workplace. That is going to affect things. There's all kinds of economic change and social change that's going on over the next probably, if you believe the fourth turning, which we've talked about a lot on this program, I highly, highly recommend, if anybody wants to understand what's going on in the world today, to get this book, The Fourth Turning, which I read maybe 20, 25 years ago, and it is a prophecy. It is so powerful. And I know I've talked about it a lot. It's so cool. This guy goes back throughout history, a guy named Neil Strauss, actually two historians. I don't remember the second guy's name. One guy's name is Neil Strauss, and he just goes back in time over the course of maybe centuries, goes to the 1600s or so. I think the middle of the 15th century, I believe. Every 80 to 100 years or so, there are 4 20-year periods, 20 years or so periods. The first period is a very high period. It's called the high period. It's analogous to springtime. The second period is the summer period. He calls it the awakening. And the third period is the fall period. He calls it the unraveling. And the fourth period is the winter period. He calls it the crisis period. And every 80 to 100 years or so, you get these spring, summer, fall, winter cycles. We are now in the winter time. We are now in the crisis time. And I read this book in the 90s, I remember. And in the 90s, we were in the third period, the fall period, the unraveling period, and the end of the high period. End of the high period, the end of the awakening period, and the end of the unraveling period, the end of the spring, and the end of the end of the summer, and the end of the fall. And it's just so unbelievable how every 100 years or so this happens. So anyway, we're in the fourth period. We're in the fourth turning, hence the title of the book, The Fourth Turning. It's supposed to go to about 2025. And I hate saying it even, but based on the theory, we're just at the beginning of the period. So we got another few years to go here. So it's really behooves us to kind of learn new skills, and I'm talking not necessarily to learn new skills to get by in the economy, but to learn new mental skills, to learn new emotional skills, to become resilient, grace under fire, to understand how to deal with stress. So when we talk about learning new skills, I'm talking about learning new mental skills, emotional skills, spiritual skills, SMEP. Working on spiritual, emotional, mental, and physical. Now's the time to start a workout program. Now is the time to start a nutritional supplement program. Now is the time to decide you're not going to eat McDonald's as much, if you're eating it at all. now's the time. Now is the time to get prepared for spring, because spring is coming up. Based on and this is, by the way, it's called generational theory. If you want to Google generational theory, you can read about it. Now's the time to prepare. So we'll talk to Lori. Lori, what the heck's Lori's last name here? We'll talk to Lori. Lori Craig. We'll talk to Lori Craig coming up at the bottom of the hour. Take your phone calls in our next segment. So we've been talking about vitamin A, which I absolutely positively love. It's not a vitamin; it's a hormone, as we said yesterday. Vitamin A is it's part of a family called the retinoids. That's why you always hear RET, R-E-T. Whenever you hear RET in chemistry, in biochemistry or nutritional chemistry, R-E-T, retinol, retinoid, retinaldehyde, retinoic acid, retinyl palmitate. Whenever you hear RET, you're talking about something in the retinoid family. If you've ever heard people say, "Well, I'm a vegetarian, so I don't get my vitamin A from animals. I get my vitamin A from plants," or sometimes you'll see on skincare products, plant-based vitamin A. There's no real plant-based vitamin A, but because the retinoids are a family that are found throughout nature, there are some compounds that have vitamin A-like activity, and one of those is beta-carotene. Beta-carotene has vitamin A activity. It has to be broken down. And that's why some people say, "Well, I get plant vitamin A." Well, it's not vitamin A. It's a retinoid. It's not vitamin A, though. It is a vitamin A-like substance that has to be modified by chemistry in your body, which not everybody can do, by the way. So if you're trying to get your vitamin A from beta-carotene, yes, it's true, but beta-carotene is a retinoid. But that doesn't mean that you're going to necessarily get your vitamin A, get the benefits of vitamin A by doing the beta-carotene, because your chemistry might not be, if you're hypothyroid, for example, if you're sick somehow, if you're nutritionally deficient, which most people are, you're not going to be able to make that conversion as effectively. So if you're vegetarian, you got to do what you got to do. If you're a vegetarian, you can't do vitamin A. I understand that. But don't necessarily expect that you're going to get the good benefits just because you're taking beta-carotene or eating beta-carotene. Not that eating beta-carotene is not great for you. It's great. Beta-carotene is a pigment that helps protect your skin from the sun. Beta-carotene is a stress management molecule, actually, as is. Forget that it gets turned into vitamin A, just as is. It's a stress management molecule. The nature of these phytosubstances as stress management molecules is so fascinating and so underappreciated. Have you ever heard the term adaptogen? That's what really an adaptogen is. I did my moment of truth today, by the way, on adaptogens. All our moments of truth are up on our Facebook page, The Bright Side with Pharmacist Ben. We'll be back on The Bright Side right after this. We are back on The Bright Side. I'm Pharmacist Ben. 844-236-6010 is our number. 844-236-6010. We've got Lori Craig coming up at the bottom of the hour to talk about financial trends and how you can survive the turmoil of our fourth turning, of our crisis stage. The cool thing about the crisis stage is that there is a springtime ahead. That means around 2025, and it makes kind of perfect sense if you think about it. Because the way things are moving from a green perspective and a kind of problem-solving perspective, enough of the old way, time to start a new way perspective, it could be said that there's some hope up ahead. I'm optimistic anyway. All right, so we're talking about vitamin A. We're talking about these adaptogenic molecules. You've heard the term adaptogens. It's been, if you follow nutrition, you probably heard the word adaptogens. It's been around for a long time. I first heard about it about 30 years ago. Adaptogens are basically molecules that are found throughout the natural world. Flavonoids, carotenes, phytonutrients, phytosterols that act to support a cell's stress response. The cell is always adjusting. Cell's always, I don't want to say stress because that has a bad connotation, but the adaptation response, the adjustment response. And the way it works in nature and the way it works in the body is there's an interaction between plant molecules and human molecules that is such that the plant molecules support the human cells, I should say, they support the human cell's ability to handle life, which is really a cool metaphor if you think about it. A plant, the interaction between the plant world and the human world is such that our plants are our guides, our supporters, our angels. They are actually healing cells. Plants are producing, not healing, but helping cells cope. Helping cells cope. That's what they do. That's what phytonutrients do. They help cells cope. They're coping molecules, and that's what an adaptogen is. It's a coping molecule. I did my moment of truth today on adaptogens. There's so many things in our world that we should be focusing on to stay healthy. This idea of being vaccinated to health, it's obscene. It really is blasphemy. A vaccination is blasphemy. Drugs are blasphemy. They're saying that the divine force doesn't know how to take care of the human body, in spite of the fact that at every turn we see that it is. Through plants, through air. Air is another one. Oxygen. Oxygen. I talk about breathing a lot. Why do I talk about breathing so much? Because it's so freaking fundamental to how your biochemistry performs. How your immune system performs, how your endocrine hormone system performs, how your neurology, your brain performs. The fastest way to hack into your brain, the fastest way to hack into your brain next to thoughts are your fastest way, is to breathe correctly, not incorrectly. Because if you breathe incorrectly, even if you're, sometimes I'll tell people about the importance of breathing. I go, oh yeah, I breathe. Let's start breathing. No, that's not how you breathe. If you think you're breathing by breathing, you're wrong. Breathing is slow and rhythmic, and slow and rhythmic and deep when it's beneficial. And the mask wearing, oh, please get yourself a pulse oximeter. Get it for $25 on the internet. A pulse oximeter. It's a little thing you clip on your fingertip, and it can read your oxygen saturation of your blood. It's a good thing just to have anyway. But just do this experiment for $25. Take your pulse, put the pulse oximeter, get a reading. It reads in millimeters of mercury, and then wear a mask for a while. Wear a mask for an hour. Wear a mask for half an hour, and then take your pulse. See what your blood oxygen level is with the pulse oximeter. That's all you got to do. How the heck did we allow that to be part of how we take care of ourselves? It's comical. It's really comical. But the implications aren't so comical. The implications are pretty sneaky, nefarious. I'm not going to go as far as to say that the average medical professional who says wear a mask is being nefarious, but the idea as a culture that we need to be wearing masks is not in our health interest. And if we really cared about protecting ourselves from a virus, we would be making sure we're practicing deep breathing. We'd be making sure we cleaned up the air and the water, really. How much of this problem is related to air and water? Anybody ever think of that? Air and water and drugs. And then, you go to a hospital. Iatrogenic disease is the third leading cause of death. So you go to a hospital, well, the odds, are not small that something is going to happen to you, COVID or not. That's the real problem, is that we dishonor how the body is supposed to be healthy. We dishonor it, and we say we know better. That's my beef with prescription drugs, is because prescription drugs say we know better. We know better than the body. You stupid body, your blood pressure, you're making the blood pressure so high, we just got to poison your heart because you're stupid, body. That's the implicit message with prescription medicine, with medicalization in general. You are stupid, body. You are stupid, divine force. You don't know. We know better. That's why it's okay. And I'm being slightly facetious, but literally that's kind of the implicit message. When you ablate the heart, when you electrocute the heart, instead of giving it magnesium, or instead of giving it coenzyme Q10, or instead of reducing sugar intake. Listen to all the ways we can protect against the number one, and I mean really protect against the number one cause of death in this country, which is heart disease. The B complex, vitamin C, magnesium, calcium, potassium, laying off the sugar, exercising, deep breathing. But no, we take beta blockers and calcium channel blockers and electrocute the heart. Or we take statin drugs. I mean, you can see the craziness here. And what gets me is when we have smart people who are professionals and trained, and they are so hypnotized they don't see this. For some reason or another, they just, it's like a negative hypnotic trance. If you have a physician or a medical professional or any representative of the medical model who suggests a beta blocker instead of magnesium, he is in a negative trance. He's not seeing the obvious. All right, Bob's on the phone here. Love talking to Bob. Only got about a minute, though, Bob. What's going on? You always have something good to say.
Yeah, hey, quick.
Yes, sir.
With that same argument, as far as our environment polluting us and and how we take care of our health, how can you say that Roundup or talcumite powder actually causes cancer when it's so complex with all these other factors?
Okay, that's a good question. I never say it causes cancer. That's an ignorant thing to say. Whenever you hear somebody say this causes cancer, they're speaking either ignorantly or colloquially. They're not. I shouldn't say ignorantly. I don't mean that in a bad way. They're speaking non-scientifically.
They win lawsuits that way.
It doesn't. What's that?
They win lawsuits that way.
Of course they do, because our whole culture is scientifically ignorant or non-scientific. We live in a non-scientific culture in the sense that we don't use the scientific methods. Nothing causes cancer because that's not what cancer is. A coping mechanism for a cell. Okay, I shouldn't say nothing because radiation can do it. But when we talk about chemistry, what chemistry does is it disrupts the cell's ability to get energy. And by disrupting the cell's ability to get energy, it causes the cell to go backwards in time. It's a coping mechanism for a cell. Radiation will cause cancer. That can trigger carcinogenesis. But as far as chemistry goes, it takes a while. But that's a great subject, Bob. I wish you would have called earlier because we got a commercial and then we got Lori Craig coming up the bottom of the hour. But if you call on our next Bright Side episode, we can discuss this. Thanks, Bob. All right, Lori Craig coming up right after this. We are back on the bright side. I'm Pharmacist Ben, and we're on the air Monday through Friday, 8 to 9 Pacific, 10 to 11 Central Time, 24/7 on the archive page at brightsideben.com. Also, benfuchsarchives.com has a search engine on benfuchsarchives.com. Thank you to Peter in the UK for setting that one up. You can purchase longevity products at brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com, criticalhealthnews.com. We've got news stories, blog posts, and lots of good health information videos. My moments of truth are all up on the websites, brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, and criticalhealthnews.com. And don't forget about our Truth Skin Health products at truthtreatments.com. Over 500 five-star reviews at truthreviewed.com. All right, I am looking forward to speaking to our guest today. Lori Craig has a master's degree in finance, and she's a certified financial planner, I think. She's an expert for the Certified Financial Planner Board of Standards, which is pretty cool. And we're going to talk about how economic trends will affect our future. 5 economic trends in specific that will impact our future. Please welcome to the bright side, Lori Craig. Hello, Lori.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm so excited about this topic.
Yeah, I can tell you're passionate about it. And I don't know much about economics, but I study the future a little bit. It's kind of like one of my things. You and I were talking just a moment ago off air about how exciting but how scary at the same time the future is. So one of the things that everybody's scared about, of course, is finances and economics and people losing their jobs and what can they do to retool or reboot or invest. So let's talk about economic trends that will affect our future. Why don't you start off with just where you see the economy heading and then maybe move into what we can do about it, how to leverage the changes.
Okay. Yeah, understanding the economic trends is really important to protect yourself. Some people just want to turn it off and, that's not interesting to me. But we live in a world where the economy and finances are really important for eating and keeping a roof over your head. So we're going through something pretty amazing. Everybody knows that we're going through COVID.
But there's more. There's lots of other stuff.
Oh, there are. But I thought I would start out with COVID because it's kind of a moving target, and I want people to be aware of, what's coming down the pike and maybe how to protect themselves from, the effects of COVID on their employment. So what's going on right now is A lot of the furloughed people are not going to be rehired or rehired back full time. We're seeing companies that are starting to go bankrupt. We're just at the tip of the iceberg. It's before unemployment benefits are going to run out. But what's happening right now is the permanently unemployed numbers are starting to creep up. We have the furloughed numbers coming down a little bit, so it looks like, things are getting better. Numbers are coming from like 20% down to 11%. But it's the permanently unemployed numbers that are concerning right now.
Do you tell people about investing, or do you talk about how they can just change their whole financial landscape?
Yes.
Both.
So a piece of finance, of course, is investing, where to invest, how to invest, and that sort of thing. But financial planning is like the whole picture. It has to do with, how you're earning your income and what to do with that income and how to make it most efficient for your particular life. And every single person is different. So you have to kind of focus that on each individual. So another thing that happens with or underemployed people is they become sicker. It puts stress on their health systems, and so healthcare is going to be very important. People taking care of their health, thinking about their nourishment, preventative care critical, and medical costs are going to rise. Another thing is that they're talking about wiping out the rest of Obamacare. And I don't know if a lot of people perhaps don't understand that if the poorer people don't have health insurance, they're going to impact the emergency rooms.
The whole economy is affected.
Oh, my gosh, yes.
Yeah. What are healthcare costs now? Something like 25% of GDP? Or not GDP, but of the budget?
I actually don't know what percentage it is, but it is going to go up. The medical costs are going to increase. It's just, wow. It's a tsunami, a healthcare tsunami that's coming down.
It's huge.
And
It's a huge burden on the economy, no? Like just the cost of drugs as it impacts the federal government and people's pockets, cash in people's pockets.
Well, every one of my clients, as a financial planner, I'm trying to project out into the future what percentage of their budget is going to go to healthcare, and it's just like this huge question mark. Well, okay, you might come down with, diabetes or the high blood pressure or the cardiovascular
cancer,
issues.
Something catastrophic.
Cancer is absolutely financially catastrophic. And then when you get into retirement, you're looking at long-term care, and what are those costs going to look like? It's the biggest question mark that financial planners have with their clients. So that whole healthcare thing.
Do you think doing things like exercising and eating right and taking nutritional supplements and doing everything correctly, is that something that is it an extreme? I know it's important for sure, but would you say it's extremely important?
Yes, it's extremely important. The mind and body are totally connected. Now, I also happen to be a yogi, so I'm a little bent that direction.
So you're meditating? You've got yourself a meditation practice, I assume?
Oh, yeah.
How important is meditation? Tell us real quickly, because we got to take a break. I want to talk about the things we can do, but real quickly before we go to break, because we talk about this a lot. In your opinion, how important is meditation in all of this?
I would say phenomenally important.
I agree. I agree. It's the best. It may be the most important if you really want to boil it down, because that can help you get through anything. People underestimate the power of the little things that we can do in order to have better lives, not just health-wise, but financial-wise, and just improve our quality of life. There's like little things that we can do.
Yeah, quality of life.
All right, so we know what's coming up around the pike, but I want to know what we can do about it, and I especially want to know about the money the money part of it. We got to take a commercial break, but then when we come back, we'll talk about what we can do about it, and particularly focusing on the economics and the financial side of things, okay?
Okay, I will.
All right, good. So I think we have a break coming up here momentarily. Is that right, Jason? Okay, yeah, we got a break. All right, so we'll be back. We're going to take a break here in a few seconds, and then we'll be back. Lori, we'll talk about what we can do about the economic changes that are, what we can do about the changes, specifically the economic changes that are on the way. We're talking to Lori Craig, certified financial planner. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. More with Lori coming up right after this. On the bright side, talking to Lori Craig, certified financial planner, about economic trends. Hey, Lori, have you heard of the book The Fourth Turning?
I have not.
Okay, so I've been talking about it a lot, and I was just talking about it before you went on the air. It's about societal changes that take place every 20 to 40 years throughout history, in 20 to 40 year cycles, every 100 years or so. So you have a spring period, a summer period, a fall period, and a winter period, and this cycle of 4 periods goes back to the 1500s. And the first period, the spring period, there's excitement. It's like, to give you an example, post-World War, the baby boomer, the post-World War II generation they called it a high. It was a springtime. It was the first of this 20-year period. After the second was the unraveling, which was the awakening, which is the 60s. That's the summertime. There's a lot of there's still excitement, but there's a lot of resistance and anger and people expressing themselves. I'll say. Then there's a fall period, an unraveling, which is a fall period, and then there's a crisis period, which is a winter period, which is what we're going through now. We're going through a crisis period, a winter period.
Yeah.
And it's called The Fourth Turning, and the book is called The Fourth Turning. So we got climate change, we got COVID, we got social turmoil, we've got potential economic collapse, all kinds of crazy things happening. We know this. What can we do during this wintertime period to batten down the hatches, to protect ourselves, and so when we come out in the springtime period, we'll be raring to go, like a plant just bursting through the ground?
So it's all about positioning. A lot of people, I would say 60% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. So they may already be into crisis, but if you're not in crisis yet, you want to stay cash heavy. If you have more than $250,000, you want to spread that among banks because of the FDIC. You want to build up your emergency fund. And traditionally, it's 3 to 6 months. But during something like this, you want to have a longer period of time that you can cover your required costs, like utilities and food and a roof over your head and that sort of thing. Just have more cash. Stay cash heavy.
And when you say cash, you mean in the bank cash?
Yeah.
You're not talking about keeping cash under your mattress.
No, I'm not big in, putting it in the cans, burying it in the backyard, or buying gold and putting it under your bed or something like that.
Are you concerned they might go cashless? Like all of a sudden, go into cashlessness?
So I have a story here. I had a client who was really worried during the 2009 period, very wealthy client, and commodities would be more important than having like gold under your bed, or if we went to a cashless economy. It's like people are going to want food, first of all. So it's like coffee beans, rice, different kinds of commodities would put you in a stronger position than any of those other things. And, of course, you have to have a lot. But this client actually bought another property. It was a huge farm, hired a caretaker to, grow crops, put solar panels on the roof, and went off the grid. They had a well, so that if we went to a cashless economy, her family would still be in a good position. They could eat and survive and thrive.
How much what did she have to put down?
That's an example.
How much money did that take to do all that?
That was a lot. I mean, that's like
millions?
Excessive. Yeah.
Okay.
That's
The average person, the average person can't do that. So what can the average person do?
Yeah.
You're saying be cash heavy. What else?
Be cash heavy. If you have debts, like credit card companies, just call those creditors and start to negotiate down your interest rate, how big a payment you're making. Try and pull that budget into line as quickly as possible. Procrastination is a big problem with people. They see the train coming down the track, and they worry about it, and they stress out about it, but they don't do anything about it. So getting on the phone is really important and starting to negotiate that down. And then taking a look at your budget, like where can you trim? Can you call up a competitor to, the house insurance that you have or your auto insurance? Start shopping around and trimming down those costs. Simplify. We don't need to have as much stuff as we are used to having. We're quite the consumerist society. So, like having the capsule wardrobe where you've got maybe 22 things that mix and match with each other, and recycle the clothes. Go to, the Goodwill or Salvation Army or something and kind of pick through the clothes and, recycle it. It's better for our climate if you do that, better for the budget, and it's possible to put together some, really nice things. Boost your value to your employer. If you're lucky enough to still be employed, just become a rock star.
That's great.
Be a rock star to that employer.
How about be a rock star in general? Just boost your value in general.
Hey, there you go, like character and ethics and developing, depth of character. And then learn to do some other things. You can, first of all, you can make yourself as valuable as possible by keeping up with online education or something. But maybe you have like a side interest. So diversify your income if possible. Let's say you love gardening. Well, maybe you can do landscaping for people on the side. Maybe creating multiple streams of passive income. So it is possible to still invest in large companies that produce dividend income. That's one.
Do you have any recommendations? Do you have large companies you like?
I am not able to give you recommendations on the radio.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because it's so specific to people. I could give a recommendation that's right for one person.
How about like genres or classes of the economy that you?
Okay.
Yeah.
So take a look around. Do babies still need diapers? Are people still going to continue brushing their teeth? They call those defensive products. So take a look at that. And then something that's interesting in recession is that people drink more. They're
alcohol, you mean? You're talking about alcohol? Okay, that makes sense. They smoke more too. Yeah. The marijuana business too, the CBD business.
Absolutely, yeah. It's skyrocketing. People want to make themselves feel better. So entertainment. They'll spend money instead of saving money. They'll go out and they'll spend money on different kinds of games or entertainment, movies. And then you just have to kind of extrapolate what companies I might be talking about.
How about the supplement business? Nutritional supplements, health?
Well, I've been watching it, and it seems to be increasing.
Yeah.
Yoga and fitness are increasing. Are
you noticing more people want to do
shopping?
Are you noticing people want to do more alternative stuff as a yogini? Are you noticing people are more open to that?
Yes, because I got into yoga, so I'm going to kind of give away my age here, but I got into yoga when I was in the 60s.
In the 60s? Oh, my gosh. You must have been really crazy. They must have
I was a child. My parents were exploring nutrition and yoga, and
Wow.
they went on a spiritual trip, and they took me with them.
Wow.
So
Were they hip? They were hippies, your parents?
they were not. They were pillars of the community and wore the white collar, and
Wow.
so we just kept it quiet.
That's great. That's great. Well, you were raised very well, and you're doing great work, Lori Craig. Thank you so much. What if people want to get a hold of you? How can they do that? Or I imagine you do business one-on-one, correct?
I have a website that they can go to. It's LoriAllisonCraig.com, and that's with 2 R's and 2 L's. And I do focus on, they call it ESG investing. It's socially responsible investing.
Awesome.
I have this belief that if the bulk of the world would change their investing habits to socially responsible, we could change the world for climate change, how companies run their companies. I think we could change the world.
Thank you, Lori. That was awesome. LoriAllisonCraig.com. Thank you so much. Best of luck to you, Lori.
All right. Thank you so much.
Take care. LoriAllisonCraig.com if you're interested in getting a hold of Lori. And that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for listening to The Bright Side. I am Pharmacist Ben. Have a wonderful, beautiful, awesome, spectacular day. We'll talk to you later. Bye for now.